Welcome everyone for the post-lunch session. I know it's a graveyard session. They call the lunch session as a graveyard session, but this is also a graveyard session. I see very few people here, but hopefully we'll be able to drag some from outside. When Subrata spoke to me a few days back, I think it was, he said, I have to share the importance of executive education. Okay, and I think I'm going to make it extremely experiential. I just finished one myself last October. I did this program at the Harvard Business School. It's called as OPM, not the drug OPM, but Owner President Management Program. It's a 3-year program. 9 weeks on campus, 3 weeks each, and then you come back and implement whatever you learn back in your company. Okay, so that was the program. We have a presentation. I've got 4 or 5 slides. Yeah, can you just put it up, just so that there is some structure to this. Okay, so staying relevant in a disrupted world. Lessons from the classroom, but I don't want to make it very bookish. The lessons could be from the classroom, but these are experiential. Next slide, please. Yeah, perfect. I think I was in this situation, okay, 3 years back. I ran a consulting firm. We are 750 people. The USP or our claim to fame is how do we deliver ROI to companies, right? So mid to large organizations is what we work for. Clients are spread across 10 countries. I'm one of the founders, and I'm also the CEO of the business. In 2022, when I decided to do executive education, what triggered was the fact was the team was well set. We were doing whatever we needed to do for our customers, and ultimately, as the CEO of the organization, I had to look beyond what was the immediate ask of the business, right? So if I were to take a 15-20 year view of the business, what the skill sets that I had at that point in time, was that relevant, okay, to drive the company into the future, or drive it to a path of growth. And at that point in time, I felt probably it was inadequate, okay, and with the pace at which things were changing, I felt that there was a need for me to get into an executive education program. And when I was researching, several schools, several programs came up, and I kind of decided to zero in on the OPM program because it was for owners, it was for presidents. So in this group, I think this group is fairly diverse. Okay, so the OPM program may not be applicable to you, but for me, I think what worked was the OPM program for you. Whatever works, you have got to pick, right? But keep an eye on the future. You're investing on yourself. You're not investing. The organization is investing in you because the organization wants to see a better version of yourself, right? And they see you as a leader who can lead the company in the next 15 to 20 years. So while the organization looks at it from their perspective, you have got to look at executive education from your perspective, right? So to see if this kind of is going to add value. That exactly what led me to join the OPM program. It has been transformational, and I'll tell you why it has been transformational. It forced me to unlearn and relearn. Okay, this is something that I think I see it here in your logo. But the unlearning has been tremendous. Okay, I think a lot of myths, a lot of the frameworks, a lot of stuff that I thought were sacrosanct went out of the window, right? One out of the classroom experience, the other because of the peer set that I was exposed to. Next slide, please. Some of the learnings. Okay, we were 180 people in a classroom. If you've seen the IIM classrooms, I think they pretty much represent the Harvard classroom as well. It is kind of on an ascending thing, right? It is circular, so the professor kind of teaches you from the center. It's all case study based, so there are no books, there is no textbook, there is no expectation that you will go back, write an exam. Totally experiential, 180 people. The biggest company we had was a $25 billion business, maybe outside of Adani. So Gautam Adani's son was a classmate. But I'm saying you leave him aside, and the smallest business was probably a $50-60 million business, right? So you had people from all sides, all sets here, very diversified, 50 odd countries, different backgrounds, different cultures. As I said, unlearning was as important as learning. A lot of the assumptions around growth, strategy, leadership, everything got thrown out of the window as far as I'm concerned. right? Stepping out of the day-to-day, I think that's another important thing. I think we are all so sucked in, at least I was very, very sucked into the day-to-day, and sometimes you lose focus on why you're doing what you're doing. So the why gets a lot more tangible when you go out and do a program which is away from your office, right? So when you're 3 weeks away from the office, I think it gives you a sense of perspective. It tells you that there are people out there who have probably done things which are at a far bigger, better scale. There are human beings who are probably a lot more humbler than you are, and they've probably figured out a lot of things, whether it's on the personal side or whether it's on the professional side, right? So I think taking time out kind of makes your why a lot more tangible. Exposure to cases around the world. The cases got 2 parts. One is the cases that you read. The other is cases from your fellow OPMers, right? Because every OPMer is a case study by themselves, right? And these are people who have gone through the ups, and some of them have gone through spectacular lows. I mean, they went into bankruptcy, they lost everything, and then there has been a resurgence, right? So exposure to case studies, again, it puts you in situations, it tells you what to do when you are faced with a situation like this, or even if you are not faced with a situation. I think it just tells you the resilience and the mindset of some of these people. Next slide, please. What is the takeaway for this group? If I were to tell you whether to do an executive education program, I would absolutely tell yes, make time. It is not a cost, it's an investment. I know it costs a bomb to do an executive MBA program from wherever you do it, but don't treat it as a cost. Even if the company does not sponsor, it's a good idea to kind of invest in yourself. Encourage your teams. We do this quite a lot. Okay, we send our teams to several of these programs conducted by several institutes, not just in India but even overseas. Because building a learning culture it directly starts from you. It directly starts from the top, right? So if people like us go out and get exposed, and if you want a peer set with whom you can interact, build up the company for the next level, then it's probably better that you invest not just in you but also in the team. And lastly, you pick programs that will stretch you. I mean, don't get into programs that gives you a sense of comfort. Okay, so I am a data analytics guy, so I should go and do data analytics. I think this is also part of my unlearning. You don't do stuff which you're already good at, right? So you can do those short-term programs, sharpen your skills around the core area of technical expertise. But I think what you need to really do is to challenge yourself. Say that, look, if this is a peer group that I need to go get exposed to, learn, then you must target those programs, right? Which will kind of help you over the next 10, 15, 20 years time. Next slide, please. Some classroom learnings, right? And some of this, I think I'm sure a lot of us know it already. For example, this make your customer a hero looks very simple. Okay, but there were several case studies which told us how to make your customer a hero. We tell this maybe in passing. A lot of us don't even mean it when we say you're going to make your customer a hero. But the extent to which some companies have gone, and there are, I can tell you a dozen of those cases that we read, the extent to which they go to make the customer a hero, it's mind-boggling. I mean, I've never heard such examples before I went into this program. Expect great things from your employees and from yourself. Okay, so passion, for example, is very intangible. Okay, if you're not able to demonstrate passion, if you're not able to work with people who share the same level of commitment and passion, then great things do not happen. Okay, and again, several examples of companies were given. I mean, these guys just moved mountains. They didn't have a great strategy. I would say that they didn't have the best strategy, but I think the amount of passion and commitment that this team showed really made the differentiation for them. Right? Take a shot. Okay, enable others to take shots. So it starts with learning as well. If I have taken a shot now at executive education, I should enable some of my team members also to take the shot, because without helping them to take the shot, they'll never know, right, what they're missing or what they're going to gain. And this was for me a very humbling thing, you know. A great way to find out whether you have a competitive advantage is to ask, if your organization were to disappear tomorrow, who will miss it? Okay, we all have to ask. If my organization Practus tomorrow disappears, who's going to miss me? Who's going to miss the organization? Right? We all talk about Nokia. We all talk about BlackBerry. Right? We say it in a very negative connotation, but I know as a BlackBerry user, I still miss BlackBerry. Okay, so I think there are some brands, iconic brands, they might have disappeared, but still people miss it. Okay, and there are zillions of companies which come out there, which go away without a trace, and none of us even talk about them. Right? So, are we creating an organization where people, even if the organization disappears, is somebody going to miss that organization? Or even if the organization goes away tomorrow, are you going to keep talking about these organizations? Are you going to miss these organizations, right? So this was a real humbling thought for me. And the last one is, do it big, do it right, and do it with style. Okay, this is the dean who actually said this, right? He said, whatever you do, think big, but do it right, and do it with style. Okay, because if you don't do all of this, then I think you will be someone who would have just run an organization, right? But you would not be the one who will stand out. So these were some of the learnings from the classroom. Okay, and this is my last slide. Okay, and I would actually read it out. And this is a quote that I kind of drafted after I came out. The best ROI from executive education is not just better strategies. I think we all know how to draft strategies and how to run it, how to get this executed from our teams. It's better leaders. Leaders who can elevate their organizations by first elevating, who can elevate their organizations first need to elevate themselves, right? The question is, when was the last time you invested in your own growth? If the answer is 25 years back, that is the last education you had, I think it's time you do an executive education program, right? With those words, I would like to wrap it. Maybe two or 3 minutes, Subrata, but is Subrata here? Maybe some questions which I can take in, and yeah, happy to connect outside or whenever you guys have any questions around this.
So has anybody gone after you?
Lots of them. It's the alumni is about 6,000.
No, I'm saying at your organization. You said
in OPM?
No, from your practice.
For this program or for any other program?
Or similar.
Yeah, of course. Lots of them are gone. Lots of them. Even when I was doing the program, because my program was for a 3-year period, lots of people went to both institutes in India as well as overseas. Yeah. Any other questions? Any other thoughts? How many of you are actually contemplating doing executive education, MBA or whatever, or a program? You're contemplating or you've done it?
No, I'm not done it.
Okay. You're thinking. Okay.
A lot of questions.
Yeah. But you must do it. I didn't see a lot of hands going up, right? I think in India, if you look at formal education, people study to get a degree and to get a job. Okay, so once you get the degree and the job, you're pretty much done, right? Most people think it's done. I think the world is changing. If you look at our own space, even with AI, strategy consulting. Okay, I'll give you an example of my domain. 25 years back, all strategy firms did 80% of their work in strategy. Today, less than 20% of their revenues comes out of strategy. Because strategy is kind of figured out. You can even program a ChatGPT bot to give you data, which was an arbitrage, which a lot of firms held on to, right? So with such rapid changes kind of happening in this space, I think if you have not considered doing something, you don't have to do a 3-year program. You could even do a 1-week program, a 4-day program. I mean, there are plenty of these available. And we do this for our people, so which is why I'm telling. There are plenty of these programs available. Just pick it, choose one, go out and do it. It's not very expensive. You build your networks, and most importantly, I think you go away from an environment that you go away from the office environment. 4 days, 5 days away. I think it makes a huge difference. Okay, if there are no other questions, I would like to wrap it up. Thank you so much. Hope you found this useful. Thanks.